What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. So I had to get Troy Fautanu from Washington. I had to break him down before the draft officially started, right? This is a guy that wasn't initially on my radar, right? Essentially was locked into the top three guys, if you will. But from what I recall earlier in the offseason, Troy was a guy that was projected anywhere to like late first to mid second. In worst case scenarios, I seen him the top of the third round somehow, right? Crazier things have happened. But this is a guy that's been on a continuous rise since the combine as analysts have continued to drill into his tape. And I can certainly see why. Some of the pro comps and stuff that have been compared to this guy from a guard and tackle perspective is what you would love to have on this Jets roster. Ali Marpet, Anton Harrison, Mike Iupati. The recency bias for one of these, but it makes a ton of sense from a physical build perspective and some of the elements they brought to their game. Rashawn Slater, right? So let's talk about Troy Fautanu's background a little bit and kind of some of the high level things to know. Now, with Troy, 6'4", 317 pounds, 24-year-old rookie, a guy that's been classified as a pure mauler, right? This is essentially you getting Olu Fashanu with Troy Fuaga's mentality on the left side. Lethal combination, right? Now, he doesn't have the build. Some people had concerns about that. The combine really helped solve that. 34.5-inch arms, if I remember correctly, longer than Joe Alt, right? So he's perfectly fine if you want to play him at tackle. People are still going to have their concerns. Also, him being 24 years old, there's going to be those question marks about how tapped out is he as a prospect already, right? Coming out of one of those COVID type classes, right? You're having a lot of these super seniors, if you will, and 6-year players and stuff. So he has the experience, 2 years starting, tackle and guard, right? 28 left tackle starts, 2 left guard starts. Really, I think the biggest concern here for any team drafting is really where can you slot him in and get the biggest impact right away, tackle or guard. But either way, he should excel at either one. You take a look at some of the class comparisons from recent classes. Peter Skoronski is essentially this year's, or Troy Fautanu is this year's Peter Skoronski, right? If you play him at guard, most people think that's going to be the most natural fit for him anyways. But I think he's perfectly fine at tackle, and you see if he fails for whatever reason before you decide to move him, right? By the time his rookie contract is over, this guy should be a Pro Bowler at worst, but definitely some kind of All-Pro before he gets his first extension. Let's get into some of the tape stuff. You see the natural leverage, right? One of the perks of being 6'4", not one of these 6'7", 6'8" behemoths is his pad level, his natural leverage, his low center of gravity is going to be something he can really exploit, especially since he's one of the better pass protecting tackles in this class, and he has exquisite footwork to top it off, right? So he has a lot of things that he can combine together to really help himself out. His mentality and his footwork really helps him keep his base secure. You see great lateral agility when it comes to things like backside blocks and being able to go out there and pull. Definitely is a great fit for a zone scheme, which we should still have a lot of those elements within our playbook this year, but I've continued to see more and more talk about exploiting some gap elements with some of the guys that we brought in this year. Active hands. A lot of people consider him a weapon on the move, right? Because he's looking to drill and dominate somebody right off the gate. If you're a linebacker, safety, cornerback, and you see him coming, best of luck to you, right? He's looking to completely turn you into dirt. You can see him utilizing various pass sets and strikes, very underappreciated aspect. You see a lot of people kind of fall into their bread and butter consistently. Not a problem with that, but he's able to change up vertical pass sets, different angles, can time when he wants to do certain, hand punching strikes. You can see him do kind of, the ghost false arm out there to get his guy to swipe early so he can lock onto him and really just kind of turn that rep into nothing for a defender. Love it. A burst blocker off the line. May not be Hall of Fame caliber, but there's very few tackles that are going to be able to out-athlete Fautanu here. Maintains pocket integrity. One of the things I recall when Zach Wilson was starting consistently for us was it was hard to watch a Mekhi Becton and a Morgan Moses or whoever else, right, really be able to set a pocket for Zach because he was drifting out, didn't really trust guys anyways, was always looking to run, but there was concerns, right? Even without Zach Wilson being there, you can see where certain pass set depths and stuff weren't where it needs to be. One of the perks of Fautanu playing with Washington and Michael Penix was that he was out there on the island. A lot of empty formation sets, a lot of one-on-one activity. He knows what he needs to do in order to give his quarterback the best opportunity to make the perfect play for that specific play. Athleticism, you see him hang with speed rushers. He might be the best mirroring pass protector, especially when it comes to handling these speed guys. Great recovery athleticism. You see him align his base pretty consistently to direct defenders into traffic, which is a very good high IQ move. There's nothing like knowing that a guy might be able to beat you depending on matchups at any given point, and you can funnel him into where essentially he gets nullified by himself. Injury history is a huge plus for us. Nothing major in Troy's history, not even consistent minor nicks or bruises, so you feel really good about him coming in. And one of the things that I do like is while he may not have a calling card, you do see in pass protection show up where he favors a snatch and trap move. So it's essentially the same thing as when you think about a defensive lineman. What can he work best with, right? Does he have a bull rush? Does he have a swipe move that he likes, a spin move? What can he rely on? Snatch and trap would be Troy Fautanu's. Now, no prospect is perfect. There are going to be concerns, and a lot of it, I would say, is great news because it stems from this aggressive mentality that Fautanu has, which is something you don't want to necessarily coach away, but you can build in a lot of consistency into his game at the next level. You'll see porous hand fighting when a lot of that technique falters, and it shows up more so in the run game than anything in pass protection. Part of the concerns I think about his length is because you did see him get beat by other guys that also had long arms. And again, it's not like he's, mini-me or anything out here. He has exceptional arm length. And so you start to figure out why is it that guys are getting into his chest? Why does it look like he's able to get, beaten back a little bit? And you figure out, is that something that you just kind of have to live with them? Or is there a way to work around that? You see his hands slip often due to inaccurate placement. That is in both phases. Causes a lot of issues with being able to sustain blocks. A little bit of a slow puncher in pass protection, quick pace in pass protection as well. Again, this stems directly to that aggressive mentality. You see him kind of get almost, I think jittery is the best word, where he just really wants to go out there and kind of dominate and decimate whoever's across the line of scrimmage for him. So while the rest of the line may be kind of moving in unison, you can kind of see him almost moving in a frenzy, if you will, and it does cause some issues that can lead to him being off balance more than you like. Opens his hips early. You'll see him overset, which generally comes up more often than I like because it also coincided with a lot of the times I've seen him almost have some instantaneous losses, and that was generally due to inconsistent positioning, which led to him opening hips early or oversetting to try to correct too late in the rep. Footwork's a requirement for him when dealing with power blockers. Everybody's going to kind of have that Achilles heel as a tackle with him. He's not naturally uber powerful. He's not a J.C. Latham. He's not a Fuaga in that aspect of things. But you do see part of that elite footwork, him being able to kind of chop his feet, grind some things out, and kind of outlast the guy, right, to where that power wanes enough for him to really get back to controlling a rep. But you're going to have to be aware that there are going to be some guys at the next level that just kind of run right through him to a certain degree till he can get a little bit stronger. Lunges to bury defenders and run sets, that's going to be the biggest piece for him in the run game. You have to figure out how to balance that aggressive mentality with refining his technique there. And then when it comes to pass protection as well as run blocking, but you see him want to kind of knock out defenders, right? He wants to essentially nullify that rep within the first second in certain instances. And he couldn't consistently stall a guy with one punch in college. It's definitely not going to happen at the next level. So that is one of the biggest pieces for me when it comes to something he needs to get taken out of his game. But you're going to love what you see. 2023 alone, 993 snaps, somewhere in that range. 623 of those, again, somewhere in that range, being passing snaps. Only 23 pressures allowed, 2 sacks, 6 penalties. That is going to be a question mark with him. He had 14 in the last 2 years. And due to a lot of that aggressive mentality, you're going to see a lot of stuff that maybe should have been called against him. That probably won't be the case at the next level. But this is a guy that, again, for the Rashawn Slater comparisons, the Mikey Upati comparisons, depending on guard tackle situations he may fall into, they feel pretty accurate, right? It's really going to be how quick can he acclimate at the next level. And for a team like the Jets, there's two-folded pieces to this, right? One, that I feel like enough teams will be high enough on him, but we still may be able to trade back, maybe pick up an additional second or third rounder. Either way, additional picks are always great, and still get this guy, which again would be like the Peter Skoronski of this draft. And then the second piece is going to be walking into the Jets situation, ideally, especially assuming he's going to be at left tackle still. He's probably only going to see about 40% at most of the snaps unless something goes terribly wrong, right? If that doesn't turn out to be the case, he still has quite a bit of time where he's not thrown into the fire. He can develop pretty consistently while still being able to go out there and work that out on the field in real time in some of these games, especially if we do lock up a playoff berth early and we end up giving some additional time off to our guys here. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. This is a guy that I've definitely kind of become a lot higher on throughout this whole process. I've seen some guys have him as high as being right behind Joe Alt. Some guys are trying to decipher how much of a gap there may be between him and Olu Fashanu, and if some people feel like with the aggressive mentality, he's better than Olu Fashanu walking out. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you again. Peace.